your time, trust me, and I'm not going to embarrass who I consider my friend, Maddy Garber. But congratulations to you on a great first season, having gone through the training. And I saw an upswing in captains. It seems like there are more and more that want to lead and not be worried about the wardrobe that you're going to purchase for you and your teammates. And that alone makes me really happy. So congratulations on your many successes. I met Maddy back when she was coming out of the 8th grade, coming as a freshman here at Milford. Back in those days, we swam, girls swimming in the fall, boys in the winter, never the two mixed. We had a kickoff camp that we ran through Mr. Morcone's office that I teamed up with a friend from Framingham who's still coaching now. His name is Mike Foley. And we had kids from Framingham, kids from Hopkinton, and Milford kids, some with varsity experience, but in order to meet the MIAA regulations, we had to have 51% of the attendees had to not be athletes that we coached. So we had the 8th graders. Maddy came up, she hit the water, and the guy from Framingham said, she's the one that I want in Framingham. It stuck out when she was 14 years old, that this was a leader, this was a lady, young lady with talent. Together, she helped us build the swim team. I remember at her sectional meet, her freshman year, she was swimming freestyle. Shows you what kind of a coach I was. I had her swimming freestyle in IM, and here she is going to the Olympic trials to swim breaststroke. But she was borderline to make the sectional swim meet. And they called a questionable false start in her 100 freestyle at our league meet down at UMass Dartmouth. And that was the first time that I almost got kicked out. But
we have that on video.
She kind of calmed me down. I'll be all right. I got the relay coming up. In swimming, if you lead off a relay, your time counts. She went up 40 minutes later, led off the 400 freestyle relay, and got herself into that sectional meet, and then into the state meet. She progressed all the way through. Her senior season, she broke the league record, the South sectional record, the Division II state record, and missed the state breaststroke record by, I think, 2 or 3 100ths of a second. She could lead anything. And swimming is weird because it's so delineated. Your top 5 swimmers swim in lane 1, your next 5 swim in lane 2, and the putt-putt lane is lane 6. Maddy could lead them all. And I'm sure it's some of that leadership that she showed led her to where she is. And I might add, I saw Coach Foley 2 days ago, and he is an alumni from Maddy's Central Connecticut. And he goes back and forth sometimes. And he said, there's not a day that I don't walk into that pool that Maddy doesn't find me, Maddy doesn't give me a hug and let me know that she's there and she appreciates what he did for her. And all he did was, when she was in the 8th grade, said, that's the kid I want. That's the kid that's going to put you on the map, Chappie. And with that, I'd like to welcome her back to Milford High School. Maddy Garber. Yours, my friend.
How many of you guys know her? Were here when she was here? Okay, cool. All right. New to me, so this is awesome.
My name is Maddy Garber, and I was brought here today to talk to you all about my journey to qualifying to Olympic trials. I get questioned every day about my training and what I have done every day to be where I am today. I usually start off by telling everybody how much I'm in the water each day and telling them I'm going to trials in a couple of weeks. I never say the specifics of what happened in the middle because that takes too long and I don't want to drag things on. But today I'm going to share with you the details as to what it takes to get where I am today. When I was about 2 years old, I was fearlessly jumping into the deep end of my apartment pool. I always loved the water. When I was 6, I joined a small team in Framingham, Massachusetts. I swam there until I was 8 when I decided I would join the Tri-Valley Stingrays. I was probably the most nervous girl on this team. I remember one day my friend Allie couldn't make it to practice and I cried and called my mom so I could go home. I was always at practice because my friends were there. When it came to meets, I also only did well when my friends were there. I would make the cuts to go to my championship meets, but still was there because my friends were. And I guess racing was a perk as well. I started to slowly enjoy racing more and got used to going to practice without friends sometimes, and decided to try out for a USA team at the age of 10. I wasn't ready to make this much of a commitment and decided to stay with the Stingrays. When I got to 8th grade, the high schoolers came down to our school so we could sign up for any fall sport we wanted to, so naturally I chose swimming. It was comforting to go into high school with a few friends I had made in the preseason. I was still extremely nervous to swim at this point, but I made friends quickly and gained respect for our 4 captains. I felt like I fit in really well and felt as though I was respected by everyone else. Before practice, I would be talking and socializing as much as I could, but as soon as I got in the water, I'd be 100% focused on what I was doing. If we had a lot of rest in between sets, I would joke around a little, but for the most part, my mind was completely focused on what I had to get done that day. I began my high school career as a freestyler. I had to go just under a minute to make the cut for sectionals. I had consistently gone a 101 and was getting frustrated, but kept that to myself. I used this as motivation and worked harder at every practice and did everything I could to get that time. I ended up barely making the sectional cut in the 100 free, but still did it and was beyond excited. This was the first big meet I had ever made. My captains and teammates ran over to me to hug me and to cheer for me when I made it. I fell in love with this feeling quickly and wanted to have more of it. I knew the people that made states had to get back to training while the rest of the team had the choice to stop training, but I was excited to get back in. It was me and about 5 other girls who ended up staying to train. I was excited to be a part of this small group. We trained each day, improving our technique and getting stronger. About a week after states, I got a text from a teammate asking if I had seen my captain's temper. I asked her to tell me what the posts were about, hoping it was congratulating everyone on making states. When she sent me the links, my heart dropped. My captain wrote things like, sprint races are 100% luck. Events like the 100 fly, the 200 IM, and the 100 breast are all endurance, and it is a race. Breaststroke is the hardest stroke to swim past, you can ask anyone. This was one of the posts that was followed by her telling me I would never make the states again, because the cut times are going to get faster, and I wasn't going to be able to keep up. These comments only made me want to try harder to prove that I am capable of doing well. I told my family about what she said, and we all huddled around the computer in awe. We couldn't believe that the senior that acted nice to me in person and the one who was on my relay team with me would do this. I didn't let this get to me because I had states coming up, and a few little comments weren't going to keep me from being my best. I tried my best to block them out, which was easy when I had such a great support team behind me. I went on to compete at states and ended up doing a lot better than I imagined. After this meet, I had a talk with my parents and some of my other teammates, and they told me I should seriously consider joining a USA team. My parents told me they were behind me with any decision that I made, but they thought it would be cool to see how well I could do at a higher level. That summer, I decided I would join the team I tried out for about 8 years earlier. I faced the usual troubles of being at a higher level, but was ready to take whatever was thrown at me. I think my best decision was telling them I wanted to be a breaststroker, even though I had no idea how good I could have been. At this point, I was simply trying to prove that I could be good, and the effort I put in wasn't luck. After a year of training with my club team, I went to states for the 100 breast and won a 110. The captain who doubted me the year before won a 116 and the 100 breast. Things were looking up for me. I kept training. In my junior year, I went a 108 at states. I had been sick the week before and hadn't been able to swim much, so this was a setback for me. but once again only made me want to go faster the next year. I knew I wanted to get recruited for swimming at this point, and knew a 108 wouldn't allow me to go Division I. My senior year I won a 103 and got first in the 100 breaststroke at states. I think this may have been one of the happiest moments of my life. I defeated this person who thought I couldn't do it and got recruited to a Division I school that I have grown to love so much. It doesn't end there though. The first week of my freshman year of college, I was told I could make Olympic trials. The cut was a 111.49 and I had a 116. I thought my coach was crazy in the beginning, but I started to believe him as time went on. I was told I would have to stay in Connecticut in the summer if I wanted this to work out for me. So naturally I did. I was the only freshman who stayed, which was hard, but I knew I had to do this if I wanted to qualify. I ended up making my first Olympic trial cut in the 100 breaststroke and was off of the 200 by 2 seconds. I trained through my sophomore year and was told there would be a meet the day after our conference meet in February, where I could make the 200. After a long 3-day conference meet and getting about 6 hours of sleep, I had no idea what to expect. I knew I had to get my head in the right place. I ended up making the 200 breaststroke cut by 1.2 seconds. The moment I looked up at the scoreboard, I knew I had done something great. I heard my teammates and parents cheering, and I immediately got out of the pool to hug my teammates and looked up to see my parents going crazy. I could not have done this without them. From the outside, this may seem a little too easy, but from the inside, it has been one of the hardest journeys I have ever had to be a part of. And they all helped me through it without even knowing. I was always relatively physically fit, but mentally I struggled hard. I would get extremely nervous for meets, thinking that if I didn't place well, I would be looked down upon, and that was one of my biggest fears. I loved the feeling of winning so much and hated the feeling of defeat even more, and I let that get to me more than I should have. It led me to become anxious about going to practice, and I never felt like I was good enough. I found that it was best to talk to my coach when these things happened to me, which was one of the best things I had done for myself. No one on the team really knew what was going on until after our conference meet. Although they didn't know what was going on, they were always laughing and always encouraging. I felt at home there, and that's all I needed. I was never one to complain or give up, and I always strived to make others better. I had to give up a lot in high school and college to be where I am today. While everyone else was going out to party and sleep in on their weekends, I was traveling all over the country going to 3-day meets that seemed to be never ending. I would be up before 7 most days and worked out 20 plus hours a week. I guess this taught me to fall in love with those 15-minute naps before class. I put a lot of pressure on myself to be the best, which is something I learned to work with. Just taking a step back and looking at the big picture helped when I went through these small phases. Looking back, I wouldn't change anything that has happened to me up to this point. Being a student athlete has brought me an amazing team, a beautiful school, and so many amazing experiences. I am still in disbelief that I will be going to Olympic trials to compete against the best of the best, but I know that I will have a great support team behind me through the entire journey. Making Olympic trials is more than just another meet for me. It has shown me it has been something that has allowed me to get my confidence back, and has allowed me to believe that I am in fact good enough. And what I do is not all luck. I hope that this allows everyone, even if you aren't going to be a student athlete, to be confident with yourselves and know that everything does work out. It may not be easy, but it'll be worth it. As Gary Player once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Thank you, and rock on, Hawk Nation.